This is the City of Frankfort Board of Commissioners July voting meeting. June voting meeting. Today is June 27th. And we'll first start with an invocation with Reverend Jack Brewer from First United Methodist. Welcome back, Jack.
Thank you. Let us pray. Almighty God, in the midst of a busy day, we pause to catch our breath, to acknowledge that you love us all, you have concern for all that happens in our lives. We pray for a special breath of your love upon our nation, particularly today, Lord, as decisions and events of recent days have served only to divide us even more. And so I'm thankful that we, as we come here in Frankfort tonight, with our commissioners and our mayor and our staff, that we can begin the process or continue the process of leading in a way that brings peace and joy and unity to us. I thank you for them. I thank you for your presence with us, and may you guide and may your discernment be with our hearts tonight. We pray in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. And stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Rosen?
Present.
Commissioner Unger?
Present.
Commissioner May?
Present.
Commissioner Waldridge?
Present.
Mayor Wilkerson?
Present. And first item on the agenda, ceremonial and recognition. We have a couple of things, I believe.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I wanted to recognize our two local government fellows, international fellows from Thailand. If I can ask Mimi Chamanro and Tanya Kupratok, not too bad, who are here for a month in our community. We're really excited. This is part of the ICMA, International City County Management Association, Southeast Asian Fellows Exchange Program. So Mimi and Tanya, if you want to say a few words, introduce yourself. We're so happy to have you here.
Hi everyone, my name is Mimi Pavitra Shamnarod from Thailand, from Bangkok, Thailand. I'll be here for a month. This is our second week now, and thank you for having us. We're enjoying Frankfort, Kentucky so far.
Good morning. Excuse me. Hello everyone. My name is Anshuda Kukratok, so you can call me Tanya. It's easier, right? So I'm really enjoy living here. So thank you for having us.
Thank you both, and I just want to mention to everyone that you'll be working closely with Rebecca Hall and Blair Hecker on a zero waste event for our concert on July 8th. We'll be working with merchants and others using compostable products to see about if we can have a zero waste event concert.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And if you don't mind, I'd like to make a recognition of some of our team members from Solid Waste Management. So Saturday, they participated in the Solid Waste Association of North America statewide, what they call the rodeo, where they demonstrate their skills in driving with the very large side loaders, back loaders, different trucks. They were competing against the City of Lexington, Republic Services, as well as Central Kentucky Hauling. And very happy to announce that Matt No, first place as a rear loader. Jared Sutherland, first place in automated side loader. Daniel Kirk won third place in the automated side loader contest, and Ronnie Means third place in the rear loader, and Brad Parker fourth place in the roll-off. So I want to recognize the skills of our drivers in solid waste.
Great job.
Yeah, congratulations. In your field of work, I know that means a lot, and I'm hoping we have video of this somewhere. Do we have video?
We have some photos that we'll share.
Thank you on behalf of the City of Frankfort. Any other ceremonial recognition, Commissioner Unger?
last week we had the grand opening for Dolly Graham, and I was sorry to miss that, but I just want to thank all the staff members that helped pull that together. I know that that was very time consuming, and it was great to see all the photos and videos on Facebook, and it just seems like the community really enjoyed it, and I would have been there if I could have, but I'm sure you'll see my kids and I down there a lot. So, but I also wanted to acknowledge probably a part of our community that's really hurting right now and grieving, and maybe just feels a little let down by their the Supreme Court decision. So it's a little hard to talk about because I know a lot of us are upset. But I just, I'm concerned about some of the repercussions that we could see in our local community. I just want everyone to know that I acknowledge your pain. I feel the same, and we are here to do all that we can.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Waters?
I will also piggyback on definitely both of hers, and will definitely say that Dolly Graham was a great addition for it to be open. I look forward to more to come in Dolly Graham, and appreciate all of those that was a part of that. I will share with you, it was sent to me by a young man that said that he wanted us to know that Kendra did the first health inspection on the Dolly Graham splash pad after the state turned over the splash pad back over to us. She did the inspection on Friday and said they had 75 kids before lunch, and the entire facility looked outstanding, including the restrooms that many kids have used. He's been down there, but not since it's been open, but it looks very nice, and he wanted everyone to know that it was in perfect health condition and inspection, and he wanted to brag on those people for a while of taking care of their park as well. I also like to give a shout out to the Upper Bound students at Kentucky State University who went down before we met at Dolly Graham for the ribbon cutting and picked up any trash that was down there before. So we appreciate them doing a community service project there. And also look forward to the King Center, as I've been told by the director, that they will hopefully every day make it a point to go down to their park, which is at the end of the street where they are, and help keep the park clean as well. So I think that's awesome, and applaud those young people stepping up. Special shout out to Lexi Kelly. She made the basketball team, so super excited, and congratulations to all of our youth that are trying out for sports going into the 22-23 year. And I as well sympathize with the ruling that has occurred, though I am a foster child, so I am glad that I was adopted and that there was a choice there for her, but I'm a woman, and we have too many men right now in power of making decisions for this community, and I just want to use this time to tell any woman that would like to run for office to step up. You have 3 women here that will help mentor and get you where you need to be to run for office, to help with our community moving forward. So,
Commissioner Rosen?
Yes, I agree with Mrs. Unger's concern for the community with the recent Supreme Court ruling. And also, I wanted to recognize, I believe, the Candle Work Company, or I may have their name slightly wrong, that opened very recently. And yes, and commend that activity.
Commissioner May?
Thank you. Definitely want to share my sentiment and echo the comments from the rest of the board, both on Dolly Graham. Congratulations to everyone who helped work to get that project, and former members of Board of Commissioners and city staff. Thank you so much for your work getting us there. And the same as, father of a daughter and daughter on the way, and obviously a wife who is pregnant as we speak. I share the same sentiment with everybody. I want everybody in the community to know that if there's anything I can do to help, I'm available, and I'm an open ear to anybody that wants to talk about any of that and how we can help in the community. I'm always here, so thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Yes. Kentucky State named an interim president today. It was Dr. Johnson, I believe. So super excited for that step forward for them. That is a step in repair They had their meeting today, and I want to say that they had chosen Dr. Johnson, so I'm super excited to allow them to get underway, and I look for 2023 when it comes time to do the presidential search for the full-time president. So I hope that the community wraps their hands around Kentucky State during this transition of healing and moving forward. And I'm hoping that they're starting from scratch and moving forward and moving in the right direction, and it's a great time for our community to hop on board and do the same with them. So,
Thank you.
forgot about that.
We have no citizens' comments tonight, so we'll move right on to the consent calendar.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Item number 1 on the consent calendar, the minutes from the work session on May 9th, 2022, and from the regular meeting on May 23rd, 2022. Item number 2 is a memorandum of agreement with the LRC. Staff is seeking approval to continue an MOA with the Legislative Research Commission to provide 1 EMT while the General Assembly is in session. So all benefits and wages are covered by the City of Frankfort. However, the city will be reimbursed by the LRC at a rate of $47 per hour, and they will be working still under the authority and direction of the City of Frankfort. Item number 3, staff is seeking approval to submit letters of support for the Simon House as they apply for grants from the Kentucky Housing Corporation. Item number 4, Transit is requesting to purchase replacement bus stop signage from AdColor Incorporated for the total purchase price of $24,966. The replacement bus stop signage would include additional information to citizens, including bus stop identifiers, route maps, and contact information. In addition, each sign will include Braille indicating contact information and stop number. The new stop signage will increase awareness of transit services and assist with ridership. Item number 5, staff is seeking approval to renew the city's excess workers' compensation coverage with Midwest Employers Casualty Company. The city purchases excess workers' compensation insurance to limit our claims risk, and the annual cost is $70,789. Item number 6, staff is seeking approval for a purchase order with Evonik Corporation to provide parasitic acid to the City of Frankfort Sewer Department for a total cost of $100,000. And this ensures that we meet the Kentucky Pollution Discharge Elimination System permit requirements every year for our sewer department. Item number 7 is a professional services contract with Bell Engineering. Staff is seeking approval for a professional services contract with Bell Engineering for the purposes of designing a new UV disinfection system for the wastewater treatment plant for a cost of $133,000. Our sewer department has been working with Bell Engineering for quite some time to consider either rebuilding the current ozone system we have or to look to new disinfection technologies. After many discussions, they agreed that they want to switch technologies to ultraviolet or UV disinfection. They looked at all the operating costs, so this money would be just for the design of that new UV system, and then it will come back later after the design for an installation.
Okay.
Item number 8, staff is requesting City Commission approval for amendment number 1 to the professional services contract for Forest Villas for siphon improvements from Hazen in the amount of $45,625. This helps with sewer flow in that area. Item number 9 are personnel actions. Asking the commission to accept the resignation of Madison Kleinheinz from the Fire and EMS Department on June 3rd, 2022 as Firefighter 2. Accepting the resignation of Austin Childers in the Police Department on June 16th, 2022 as a Patrol Officer 2 and authorized payout of accrued leave. Also accepting the resignation of Jeff Dunmeyer in Fire and EMS on June 22nd, 2022 as Firefighter 1. Also accepting the resignation of Sam Head from Public Works and Streets on July 11th, 2022 as a Public Works Tech 3 and authorized payout of accrued leave. We're also accepting the resignation of Simeon Alvarado in the Public Works Department on July 1st, 2022 as a Public Works Tech 2 and authorized payout of accrued leave. Also accepting the resignation of Catherine Nivison from Public Works Transit on June 20th, 2022 as a transit driver. The resignation of Carlos Carcamo from the Police Department on July 7th, 2022 as a police officer 2. We're also to accept the promotion of Daniel Doss in Public Works and Streets, promotion to Street Superintendent on June 7th, 2022. The promotion of David Hanno from the Sewer Department on May 24th, 2022 as a lead plant operator. The promotion of Samuel Hillard in the Fire EMS on July 5th, 2022 from Firefighter 2 to Fire Sergeant. The promotion of Samuel Bass, Fire EMS on July 5th, 2022 from promotion from Firefighter 3 to Fire Sergeant. Also, the appointment of Michael Oler in the Sewer Department on May 24th, 2022 as a plant operator. The appointment of Taylor Douglas in the Police E911 Department June 21st, 2022 as a telecommunicator 1. The appointment of Herb Wilson in the Police Department on June 28th, 2022 as a patrol officer 3. And the appointment of Nick Evans in the Police Department on July 5th, 2022 as a patrol officer.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Walters, second by Commissioner Unger. Ask the clerk to call for a vote.
Commissioner Rosen?
Yes.
Commissioner Unger?
Yes.
Commissioner May?
Yes.
Commissioner Waldridge?
Yes.
Mayor Wilkerson?
Yes. And the consent calendar is adopted. Next, we have boards and commissions. Yes.
I just wanted to say congratulations on all of those promotions and welcome to Frankfort, the city of Frankfort, for those appointments. So. Board, sorry.
On to the boards. First, we have Tourist and Convention Commissioner, reappointment of Craig Potts, expiring June 30th of 2025.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve and a second. Commissioner Unger, any discussion on this reappointment? Craig Potts. All right, seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call for a vote.
Commissioner Rosen?
Yes.
Commissioner Unger?
Yes.
Commissioner May?
Yes.
Commissioner Waldridge?
Yes.
Mayor Wilkerson?
Yes. Number two, another Tourist and Convention Commission reappointment of Mark Stone, also with a term expiring June 30th, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Second.
And thank you, Commissioner, for the, we have a motion and we have a second. Any discussion on this reappointment? Seeing none or hearing none, clerk, will you call for a vote?
Commissioner Rosen?
Yes.
Commissioner Unger?
Yes.
Commissioner May?
Yes.
Commissioner Waldridge?
Yes.
Mayor Wilkerson?
Yes. And that appointment carries. Next, we have number three, another Tourist and Convention Commission reappointment, this time Allison Deppenbrock, representing the Frankfort Area Chamber of Commerce. And this is a term expiring June 30th, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any discussion on this reappointment? Nope. Clerk, will you call for a vote, please?
Commissioner Rosen?
Yes.
Commissioner Unger?
Yes.
Commissioner May?
Yes.
Commissioner Waldridge?
Yes.
Mayor Wilkerson?
Yes. And that carries. Next, we have a Board of Park Commissioners appointment of Lisa K. Hodge with a term expiring May 1st, 2026, replacing the term of Anne French Thomas.
Motion to approve.
A motion, Commissioner Waldridge.
Second.
A second, Commissioner Unger. Is there any discussion on this appointment?
I'd just like to thank Anne French Thomas for serving on the board. And good appointment as well.
And Anne French Thomas has served on the board since 1996, so
Oh,
we
wow.
do appreciate, I think,
I was here before I
since
graduated
we
high
had
school.
2 parks she was on. So thank you,
Yeah.
Anne French, for serving, and we appreciate your service.
Definitely.
No further discussion.
Call for.
I'll ask the clerk to call for a vote.
Commissioner Rosen,
Yes.
Commissioner Unger,
Yes.
Commissioner May,
Yes.
Commissioner Waldridge,
Yes.
Mayor Wilkerson.
Yes. And finally, we have a Board of Park Commissioners appointment of Jamal Jackson for the term expiring May 1st, 2026, replacing Judy Ziegler's expired term.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion Commissioner Waldridge, second Commissioner Unger. Any discussion on this appointment to the Parks Board?
I'd just like to
Commissioner
say thanks for Judy and her service on this board, and I appreciate Jamal Jackson stepping forward. Jamal and I have had several conversations on him being on this board, and I think his name came forward when I submitted also Quentin's, so I'm glad to see that he is able and has the time to serve on this board, being that he is the basketball coach of the girls, or the boys, basketball at Kentucky State University. I think it brings a college connection there, Kentucky State University connection, as well as he has 2 young children as well that participate in our sports around here, so.
Commissioner Unger?
Yep, I think it's a great appointment as well. I'd also like to thank Judy Ziegler for her term on the board, and she's always been very involved in the community, so thank you, Judy.
Thank you, Judy. And any other discussion from the virtual? No. I ask the clerk to call for a vote.
Commissioner Rosen,
Yes.
Commissioner Unger,
Yes.
Commissioner May,
Yes.
Commissioner Waldridge,
Yes.
Mayor Wilkerson.
Yes. All right. And that will bring us to action items. And first, we have a second reading.
An ordinance creating and establishing for bid a non-exclusive telecommunications or related non-cable franchise for the placement of facilities for the generation, transmission, distribution, and sale of telecommunications or related non-cable services within the public right-of-way of the City of Frankfort for a 10-year duration, providing for compliance with other relevant laws, regulations, standards, and ordinances, definitions, work materials and construction standards, wire moving and tree trimming, performance bonds, indemnification, insurance, access to property and inspections, notice of foreclosure and bankruptcy, cancellation or termination, violations and penalties, permitting and inspection fees, additional permitting and other requirements for substantial new construction, and bid requirements, all effective on date of passage. This ordinance creates a telecommunications franchise within the City of Frankfort, including the following: a process for advertising and accepting bids for non-exclusive franchises, allowing purchasers to use the city's right-of-way for telecom infrastructure, a non-refundable bidder application fee of $8,000 and non-refundable administrative advertising fee of $2,000, requirements regarding use of city property and compliance with all applicable laws and permitting requirements, provision of detailed construction plans, environmental impact studies, and other information subject to city approval, various notice provisions regarding proposed activities in the city, notice provisions regarding proposed activities to the city, community, media, and other utilities, responsibility for disturbances and damages caused by franchise-related activities, penalties for violations of the ordinance, various other requirements regarding bonding, insurance, transfer, and termination.
Thank you. Okay, we have a second reading there. A motion, Commissioner Unger,
Second.
and a second, Commissioner May. Okay, any discussion on this? Commissioner Rosen?
Yes, I've looked into this quite a bit and talked with Gary Zhang with FPB and watched some of the legislative discussions about this situation and find it very frustrating that the state is giving money to Acceleron or Kentucky Wired, and they get money back when they pick up business from municipalities or in different areas of the state. And this is at the cost to our municipal utility and the cost to private providers as well, that a state supported utility is requiring this type of legislation. And also federally on that level, that their lobby is so strong that they're pushing this type of thing. So I think we're stuck at this point, but it's not a great situation.
Thank you. Well, and I'll ask our city attorney, it sounds like this is something we really need to do or have to do, is that right?
That's right. And this is something I know I've had numerous conversations with all of you. I understand the frustration. I've also spoken with the attorney at Frankfort Plant Board, and they have indicated they understand why we have to do this. Utility franchises are mandated by the Constitution, and we are at a point where we now have entry of this company. They also, at the federal level, we cannot put up any barriers to entry by these telecommunications companies. So if we put off the ordinance any longer, it could be problematic for the city. The design of the ordinance is so that we don't just say yes and check a box and they can come in. It actually is, as you can see, and just from reading the summary, very thorough, so that we have a number of controls in place about how, when, where, why these go in.
One question. Is there a reason that we couldn't charge more for this application fee?
On the application fee, we basically took a look at a wide range of not just surrounding communities, but across the nation, and it was the advice of our consultant that this is actually a very good application fee for us to be able to charge. We have to be careful due to some other legal constraints about the amount that we charge. But we feel like this is an excellent result.
So instead of 8,000, we couldn't charge 80,000.
No.
That's too much?
No, that would be a barrier to entry, definitely.
It doesn't seem like it, but
For a big company.
for a telecommunications company.
Right.
Anna Marie might have another question.
Yes,
I have-
Commissioner Rosen.
I have one other question, which is there anything we can do to prevent them from just choosing the best customers and selecting out, the prime income customers versus serving a larger area when they come in?
No, there's really not a lot we can do, Commissioner. It will be a matter of the offers they make to those customers and whether the customers see it in their best interest to actually go with this particular service. So we can't interfere with the market to place parameters around who they serve.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? No? Going once, going twice? City Clerk, please call for the vote.
Commissioner Rosen,
I'm voting yes with reluctance, but yes, I think is the only option.
Commissioner Unger,
You gonna say the same?
Yes,
There's some reluctance. Is that
with
what I hear?
reluctance. The same, yeah.
Commissioner May,
Yes.
Commissioner Waldridge,
Yes.
Mayor Wilkerson.
Yes. And that
We're all
motion
responsible.
carries. Action item number 2, another second reading.
An ordinance appropriating the revenue to be received by the City of Frankfort for fiscal year 2022-2023. This ordinance appropriates revenue to be received by the City of Frankfort for fiscal year 2022-23 in accordance with the budget submitted and hereby approved.
Motion to approve.
Motion, Commissioner Unger.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Waldridge. Any discussion on this action item? Clerk, will you call for the vote?
Commissioner Rosen,
Yes.
Commissioner Unger,
Yes.
Commissioner May,
Yes.
Commissioner Waldridge,
Yes.
Mayor Wilkerson.
Yes. That carries and takes us to our first reading, action item number 4.
Actually,
Second
number
reading.
3.
Oh, I see that now.
Gotcha.
Yeah, second reading, action item number 3.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 13, 2021 series, appropriating the revenue to be received by the city of Frankfort for the fiscal year 2021-2022. This ordinance amends ordinance number 13, 2021 series, appropriating the revenue to be received by the city for the fiscal year 2021-22 by adding the following expenditures as noted. 1 general fund, $1,014,400 aggregate total, and by adding the following revenues. General fund, $4,236,300 aggregate total.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this second reading? None? All right, clerk, please call for the vote.
Commissioner Rosen,
Yes.
Commissioner Unger,
Yes.
Commissioner May,
Yes.
Commissioner Waldridge,
Yes.
Mayor Wilkerson.
Yes, and that motion carries. Okay, now, first reading. Looking for a sponsor.
Sponsor.
Sponsored by Commissioner Unger.
An ordinance amending City of Frankfort Code of Ordinances, Sections 37.31, 37.32, and 37.34 related to officer and employee pay structure, classification, and compensation. This ordinance amends City of Frankfort Code of Ordinances, Section 37.31 and 37.32 to delete references to the previous job classification charts and salary schedule Q and replace them with COF salary schedule, incorporating all full-time job classifications, pay ranges, and pay grades. It amends Section 37.32 to delete the requirement that any monthly or annual salary rates displayed in the previous schedule are computed based upon full-time schedule, and the requirement that part-time and seasonal employee pay rates are set by the HR director and city manager, and amend Section 37.34 to remove the midpoint limitation for job offers and to require that an existing regular full-time employee pay rate shall be adjusted to match or exceed the pay of the similarly qualified new hire in the same job classification rather than to 5% above the pay rate of the new hire.
Okay, thank you to our city attorney. Action item number 5, a declaration of 2 handguns as surplus.
Yes, the purpose of this agenda item is to seek commission approval to declare 2 city-owned handguns as surplus for buyback by retired officer Jeffrey Roberts.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call for the vote.
Commissioner Rosen,
Yes.
Commissioner Unger,
Yes.
Commissioner May,
Yes, and thank you for your service.
Commissioner Waldridge,
Yes.
Mayor Wilkerson.
Yes. And that motion carries. And moving on to action item number 6.
Staff is seeking acceptance of grant funds of $300,000 for the Transportation Alternatives Reimbursement Agreement for the Downtown Wayfinding Project. Adoption of this resolution will allow the mayor to sign all the administrative documents required to submit and process the grant. The overall project is $375,000, and the city will be required to match the TAP funds with a 20% match, which is about $75,000. The city's capital budget has budgeted for this expense, and we recommend approval and adoption. This has been a long time coming in the community, and we're extremely excited that this is it's going to finally happen. We expect if you approve it tonight, that probably within 4 to 6 months, we should see some new signs up.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion on this? We have a motion and a second. Commissioner Rosen.
Yes, this has taken a long time to get to this point, but I think it's great that we're there.
And I'll just say, this is wayfinding, it's finally here, right? In November of 2014, I think, is the date that was on the wayfinding plan. So I'm happy to see this. Thank you for your work on this, Rebecca, and everyone else.
And this implements a key part of our downtown master plan, is the wayfinding. You'll see some new wayfinding come up as part of the Tiger project that will come up sooner, but this is an important part of our downtown master plan.
It's going to help people get around. Any other discussion? City Clerk, please call for the vote.
Commissioner Rosen,
Yes.
Commissioner Unger,
Yes.
Commissioner May,
Yes.
Commissioner Waldridge,
Yes.
Mayor Wilkerson.
Yes, and that motion carries. Now, action item number 7, a resolution.
Yes, staff is seeking approval or seeking adoption by the commission for adopting the 2022 classification, compensation, and benefits study recommendations.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner May.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Unger. Any discussion on this? Seeing none? Clerk, will you please call for the vote?
Commissioner Rosen,
Yes.
Commissioner Unger,
Yes.
Commissioner May,
Yes.
Commissioner Waldridge,
Yes.
Mayor Wilkerson.
Yes. And that motion carries. Action item number 8, KSU pool study resolution.
Mayor, could we table this? I just think with the situation at hand, the board, as well as you, Mayor, we sent a letter hoping for a signature for them to solidify a partnership that was in due returned to us with no signature, and we are now approving this resolution with no signature from Kentucky State. And I believe in a partnership that two entities should be signing. So I would wish that we table this and go back with Kentucky State University to do maybe an MOU so we can get that signature for a partnership. We've been longing for a partnership in something with Kentucky State University. We have shown, it's not that I don't want to put the money out there, I've been pushing for this to happen, and I'm still supportive of it. But if you went to a bank and asked for $100,000 and said you didn't want to sign, they're not going to give it to you, right? And so we just want to say this is a partnership, and all we're saying is we're going to give you $30,000 to put an account over in the foundation, and it shall only go toward that entity, that item of the feasibility study for indoor swimming pool. And I would like a Kentucky State signature to solidify that partnership with the city and KSU before we move forward with this. So that's why I would like to table it.
Okay, so we have a motion to table this. We have a second to motion to table this. So we can discuss it?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay, we have a second, Commissioner Unger. Let's discuss it. So
Yeah.
it sounds like I have a question, City Attorney. Do you think that they would sign a memorandum of understanding, or they just don't want to sign?
No, it's my understanding from earlier conversations when they came back and said that while they agreed to the terms of the resolution, they weren't willing to sign a statement. They raised the possibility of doing a memorandum of understanding. I responded back and said that would be fine, and asked, because they are the ones with the specific legal requirements related to the university and how it has to transact business, I asked if their legal counsel could draft the MOU. And I think that is the most appropriate course of action to make sure we get in the terms that they actually need. So it is absolutely a possibility, and I'm happy to work with them on that when I get back from vacation.
And I just wanted to add that I did speak with Kentucky State General Counsel, Ms. Lisa Lang, and she stated exactly as Laura stated, and I spoke with Laura to follow up on what she had said, and they are okay with signing that, and I agree with Laura. I think they need to have a more active role, that if they want certain things in that MOU, it is easier, because if I'm not mistaken, I think with this one letter that we've done right here for resolution, it's been back and forth two or three times at least.
They reviewed,
So-
before we even brought the resolution to you.
Correct.
We sent the resolution and the documents to Kentucky State
Right.
University to review and approve, and they were fine with it. They made some changes.
Correct.
So we only brought to you what was approved by them. So
Right.
this was a surprise that it came back that they did not want to
right.
sign the resolution.
Right. And so when I spoke with her, that's some of the things that came aboard, and I did tell her I was going to bring it up at our city commission because I'm expecting partnership, and partnership is two people. And I expect that we're not asking them for anything, we're actually giving, and we're wanting to do more and being supportive of Kentucky State. And I just think for that to be a strong movement, that we need them to work with us, and we need them saying, hey, we are wanting to partner with you. And a lot of times when we work with Kentucky State, it has fallen off to where they haven't partnered, or something has gone wrong, or we've changed leadership or what have you. And I think this is the first step forward of saying, we want to partner and we want to do this, and they do need to work on an MOU with you and what language that is, because ours is simple. We're giving you this into this account for this purpose. If there's any money left over, it does come back to us. That's pretty simple. So if they do have other things, allow them to put that in and then bring it back to us for 2 signatures for that partnership. That's what we're doing this for. That's just my vision.
I know, if I may, I do want to add that I did not, just in case anyone wonders, I did not say that an MOU would be inappropriate at any point. We just didn't receive one back from
Correct.
them, which
Yeah.
is why we did the letter, agreed to send the letter and put that before you all as a legally permissible option.
And Ms. Lang did share that you did give her the option to do that.
Yes.
And I don't think she sent one back because she said that they were super busy in regards to everything going on at the university. And I said, well, we're busy on this side too. It's just a partnership, so we both have to give. So she did clarify that.
Commissioner Rosen.
Yes, I think the situation is very frustrating, all the time that we've lost, sending information back and forth, and we've gotten no progress. And MOU is probably a good way to go, but as Laura pointed out too, that we have an agreement with them, and even if they don't sign, it's still an agreement when you give them the money. But it's very frustrating because we have swimmers who are going to other cities to use their facilities, and it's been going on for months, and we have nothing to show for it. So, frustrating situation, and maybe we can make progress with an MOU if they initiate one.
So we could still, if we do not vote to table this and we vote on the updated, sending the letter instead, is that?
The resolution does not address the letter that will be sent. It merely says, and hang on, I'm pulling it up.
It just removes the requirement of the sign.
It removes the requirement, and that is the extent of it. So, if you all are directing, you can pass the resolution conditional upon adoption of the appropriate MOU.
I do worry though that when did we pass the first resolution? It's already been that long, and now we're gonna just kick it a little bit farther down the line.
And I understand, but again, like Laura said, she could work on it when she gets back. It's not like it's going to be another month. And when we're looking at this, the feasibility study isn't going to start next week. It's not going to start next month. And this is going to take over a year for it to feasibility until completion, regardless if that's how much money we're going to put toward it. But again, I can't continue to give Kentucky State excuses and continuing to work with that partnership, because that's who I am. It's about a partnership. And I understand it's a piece of paper and things of that nature, but we have to hold them accountable. And we hold ourselves accountable. And to me, that's what a partnership is. And if you go into a partnership, you want 2 signatures to solidify that, because before, we've always started working with Kentucky State, they've fallen off, and we continue to work, and then it becomes an issue later on. And this way we know we have a partnership. And I'm not trying to be hard on anyone by all means. Trust me, I worked at Kentucky State. I've been a student there in 2 different capacities. I taught there for a year and a half. I've worked there. I've coached there. I love Kentucky State University, but in order to hold someone accountable, they've got to go through with what we've asked and not continue to push us off and do other things. And we are going to work with them, and we want a partnership. And I want this more than anything. I want us to do so much more. I just feel that they have to do their end of the bargain, just like everyone else when we sign contracts and we move in that direction, and it is dealing with our residents' money.
I just want to offer up that if this would go through, if you would like to table it, you'd like to bring it back, the earliest we would bring it back is July 25th at the voting session. That's when it would be brought back to you all for review and approval.
You all will have to approve the
Yeah.
the memorandum.
Okay. So we have a motion to table it. Any discussion?
So, okay, so we have the motion to table and we need to vote on that, but, so we couldn't just approve this resolution with an MOU that they send us? We'd still have to look at the MOU later
You'd
anyway.
still
and
need
vote.
to look
Okay,
at it,
okay,
yes.
good, just making sure I'm totally got that.
All right. Any other discussion on tabling this? We'll call for a vote.
Commissioner Rosen,
Yes.
Commissioner Unger,
I'm a yes in hopes that we get an MOU from K-State so we can vote on that.
Can I clarify
Sure.
quickly before we're voting right now to table the resolution itself. I think we, it gets,
Yeah.
we've got different ideas. The
Yes.
next motion, if we vote down the motion to table, the next motion would be to support the resolution contingent upon the MOU coming back to you all.
Okay.
Does that make sense? I don't know if that affects anyone's vote, but I just wanted to clarify.
Yes.
Are you voting
Yes,
yes, or does
Commissioner.
that bother your vote? You're voting yes, or?
Clarification point, then Solicitor Ross, so on this vote, tabling it ends the discussion, we don't get to decide if we want to come back with the contingent upon MOU.
That's right. If you table it, then we are done with the discussion
Yeah.
for now, for the foreseeable future.
Which means that we would bring it up since City Manager Laura, City Manager Laura, stated that we would vote on it in July 25th meeting, meaning we would discuss it at the July work session, because she did not give us the option to approve it in the July 25th or the July, whatever that meeting
Right,
is.
so
So we would discuss it at work session and then approve it in the 25th meeting, instead of saying, if we go ahead and create an MOU and read over it and we want to approve it in that, what is that meeting, the 14th? What is that? The 11th, that meeting, we would then do it on the 25th.
If I could make a suggestion, because I think actually, because we're far enough into this motion, and again,
We're voting.
we are voting, and now we're kind of in the
Stopping.
middle of discussion, but I want to make sure everybody's clear. If we vote to table it, that's fine too, as long as you all understand and trust staff to bring it back, because we know you want an MOU.
So should I rescind my thing and let them revote
We
to?
gotta vote on this.
We have to
and
finish
two
voting
votes.
on this. So voting yes to tabling is okay. Then we will just know to bring it back to you.
Okay,
in
so
the
we don't need to
coming
have that in our motion. That's what I
We're
was
not
gonna
gonna
say, to
talk
tag it
about
on
it
the
again
motion.
tonight. after
That's
this
right,
vote.
correct.
Okay.
That's right.
Who are we on?
We
Commissioner
started
May.
But Lisa, did you
Commissioner
say yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Commissioner May,
Yes.
Commissioner Waldridge,
Yes.
Mayor Wilkerson.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Let's table this.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so now we're gonna move on to action item number 9, Franklin County Humane Society Agreement.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The staff is seeking approval for the agreement with the Humane Society to provide the city's $1 million commitment in 3 payments in July, October, and January 2023.
Motion to approve.
A motion, Commissioner Unger,
Second.
second, Commissioner May. Any discussion on this? We have Sam Marcus here. Does anybody have any questions for Commissioner Rosen? Commissioner Rosen?
Yes. Yes. Can you hear me? Okay. I think that setting this up so that we're giving the Humane Society the money is good. I think the the kind of cloud over this is the discussion which we have not had about the road. And I think I request that we put that on the agenda for the work session in July to discuss the road and all the different aspects of its use.
Add up a new business.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
Commissioner Waters?
I just wanted to clarify that within this, a couple of things have changed, which is the verbiage that says we are giving the Humane Society $1 million, and that could be used in the way that they see fit, whether that's building their building or whether that's road infrastructure. And that's why we changed that, so that $1 million could be used for what they wanted, not so much the building if they were unable to put in the expense for the road. So I want to point that out, that they did put infrastructure in there for that reason.
Does everybody want to hear from Sam Marcus? Any objections?
No objection.
Good. Want to take the floor? Take the stand.
I appreciate it.
It's the podium.
It is my final meeting before you as board president, so I appreciate the opportunity. After almost 11 years, term limits, it's not a bad thing. We could maybe all benefit from term limits. But I do appreciate the opportunity to have a few minutes of your time. And put this discussion out there for public consumption and for the public record.
Is this related to what we're talking about right now, the agreement?
Yes, in the sense that we were talking about infrastructure or not. And we appreciate the approval of the payment agreement. And also, I guess our service contract was part of the budget. So we appreciate that. Just want to point out where we are now with the project. This is how we started before, or this was the area before the start of construction. And this now was taken at the end of May, so approximately a month ago. The project at that point was about 20% complete. So the good news is, as you can see, there are actually walls up there. Nice to see, finally. But I think what I also want to point out, and what you can clearly see, is the tremendous amount of work that has been done in and around the site. And this will give you a better portrayal of that. You can see the project a little better here. And, you know, just want to say that this is the road that is now paved. This is the cul-de-sac off Flynn Avenue. All of this is city property. The site is city property. The road is city property. The sewer pump station is located here. We, of course, are paying for all of this and for the infrastructure. The infrastructure now, including the road, if it's our responsibility, is over $1 million. The road itself is $350,000. The initial estimate of the road was $180,000. It went to $350,000 because of stipulations that were made upon us in the design for heavy equipment vehicles and other utility issues. And the heavy equipment vehicles are primarily city, Public Works. Public Works travels this road extensively to the pump station and also to the back of the property. This will be heavily used by city vehicles. So that I don't take up too much time, I'll just read through this quickly as possible. The road and the site changes have added $625,000 to our contract. The infrastructure costs are now over $1 million. If the FCHS has to pay the road costs, all the money that was previously committed by the city will go to the infrastructure, and none of it will go to the facility itself. The former mayor and 2 commissioners forming the first 3 votes to approve the funding said that that was not their intent. And the city should have responsibility for the road. It's a city road, it's a public street.
That's not what we're talking
Like
about
they're
here
not
tonight,
here.
Sam. We're talking about, are we gonna agree to give you the money?
It's okay, I'm not
for
asking for a
different-
vote, I'm just having my final say
still have
before
to
the board.
vote
So
on
I
whether or not to
appreciate, I
change
appreciate
the
the
agreement.
opportunity.
And then once we change the agreement to allow you to use the funds for the infrastructure,
Correct.
then we can come back and talk about that.
It's important to note that the FCHS doesn't own any of the property, including the site or the road. Will we get to charge you for use of the road if we pay for it? The FCHS was never responsible for building an animal shelter, but we wanted to do it right and set an example. The community agreed, and we raised $4 million privately. We also got FPB to agree to pay $50,000 toward the cost of the road. They thought it was a good deal because they'll use it even though they don't need it now. Even if the city paid all the remaining $300,000, it would be a 20% match to a now $6.5 million plus project. There are many examples that can be cited. The city agreed to a 50% match, let alone only needing to match 20% of a project. This needs to be a board decision. It's too important not to discuss openly. The ramifications impact the community. It either impacts our ability to complete the project, or it imperils the future of the Franklin County Humane Society if we have to borrow money up to the limits of our capacity in order to finish the project. And I would ask you, what kind of an animal shelter would you have built for $1.3 million?
For 1 point, what, 1.1
Any
million?
discussion for Sam?
You can turn us down,
$1 million? Okay.
but I think you need to do so on the record and with explanation.
What we're voting on tonight is whether or not to change the agreement.
Yes, sir. But please commit to putting this on an agenda soon. And I'm going to leave you with this finally. It's the last thing, and I'll get out of your way.
No, we're gonna have to, this is a work session. It sounds like somebody's gonna bring up a new business.
Well, I won't have that opportunity, so I'm sorry.
Well,
We out of order then,
yes.
If you want to shut me down then?
I guess.
Yes.
So we can vote on the agreement so that you can use the funds for infrastructure rather than the facility, then yes. I'd recommend we do that. Well, we still haven't voted yet.
Okay.
And we can bring this up in a work session, which has never been on a
I
work
won't have
session
that
yet.
opportunity, but that's fine.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Unger. Any other discussion on this? Seeing none or hearing none, I ask the clerk to call for a vote.
Commissioner Rosen,
Yes.
Commissioner Unger,
Yes.
Commissioner May,
Yes.
Commissioner Waldridge,
Yes.
Mayor Wilkerson.
Yes, and that motion carries. We're happy to support the Franklin County Humane Society.
Yes, we are. It's called the what? The Franklin County Humane Society.
We're all one community.
And we are one community, and we put $1 million down before this county did. And so we are very helpful. And we donated the property.
We'll move on to action item number 10. We have Transit Center Parking Garage Project to discuss, which is exciting.
Exciting.
Yes.
Finally.
Staff is seeking approval to authorize the mayor to sign an agreement and resolution for the Transit Center Parking Garage Project. On May 10th, 2022, the City of Frankfort and Frankfort Transit, they were awarded the FTA CARES grant in the amount of $5.5 million for the Transit Center Parking Garage on Parcel B. In addition to the CARES grant, at KYTC, the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, an Office of Transportation Delivery has provided an additional $1.25 million. by way of FTA Section 5311 program. So the total FTA grant for this project is $6.75 million. In order to formalize this agreement, KYTC has provided a grant agreement for our review, approval, and signature. And this grant agreement lays out how, when it's executed, how we will be reimbursed for when the parking garage is being built.
Motion to approve, Mayor.
Motion, Commissioner Waldridge.
I'm ready for this to move forward.
Looking for a second. I'd hate for this to.
Second.
Okay.
Good job, Kelly. Kelly's
Thank
like,
you. I
yes.
thought we were gonna lose this. So any discussion on this motion? So does this make it official?
This makes it very official. We have the money. Chuck Knowles is here. He can also provide additional information. The good news is KYTC is reviewing the design build RFP. We've got to issue that so we can find the correct company to build the transit center parking garage. That's likely to happen this week, so hopefully issue it after July 4th. And then we will plan to have, as we've talked about, press conference probably mid-July. We'll get you more details as soon as we firm them up. But that'll be really exciting for the community to talk more about this, but this makes it very real that the transit center parking garage is going to get built.
I would like to add. I know that we are on the RFP for the design, right? And I know when the commission before where we're at now is we had a lot of discussion, and I was probably the first person that brought it up in regards to the air rights to the parking garage, and hopefully that we could make that maybe possibly an indoor facility for our community to have events. It would have glass at the top. I stated in this process that we're wanting to use everything we can downtown to make our community happy. I think on top of that parking garage, I think it would be a great area to put an open space, maybe divided by divider with maybe a little awning place to maybe enjoy some outside. I don't know if that's part of the design right now. I think I've been told that they're going to try to prep the top for that for later on. But I don't know how everyone else feels because we are getting the TIF and everything to reimburse us for this building. But I think that we need to think about that as we move forward, because if we're building that and we could go ahead and build that, that could be something that our community could start using as soon as this is finished. And I think that may be worthwhile of looking to see how much that would cost us and whether or not we need to bond that or afford that on with that particular air rights area. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
I just get excited about it.
I'm ready to do this too. I've been drafting that RFP for 2 years. I'm ready to roll on.
I know, right?
Right now we have required in the design build RFP, open deck on top. We're asking them to design structurally, so if we have 500 people up on that top deck, then the structure will handle that loading. We also are requiring water and electrical service to be provided to the top deck. So I think we're setting ourselves up, and of course the elevator will go to the top deck too. We're setting ourselves up to do whatever we want to through the design process, and of course, as you mentioned, it's all going to depend on the cost and how much, because the city is going to be responsible for anything over the 6.75 million. So anyway, I think we're setting ourselves up to use that space up there. And as we get into detailed design with the design build team, we can talk about some of these amenities
On what we
to
could
the project.
possibly build it all at the same time.
Right.
Okay. I just don't want that to go unseen, and I just think it'd be a good space.
Any other questions or discussions? Rebecca Hall, Commissioner Rosen.
Yes, kind of along those same lines of what Patricia was asking is other uses for the roof. And one thing I think of is renewable energy and solar, which could happen along with using the roof. And is that something that can be written into the RFP?
I think that's something that is not currently in the RFP, but again, we could leave ourselves open to providing some of that space on our top deck for some type of solar power generation if we wanted to. But that's, again, a design possibility that we'll have to discuss once we get a contractor on board.
So
Thank you.
we would sort of recommend it if we have ideas like this, what's the recommended way to, are we gonna have a meeting separate?
Well, once we get a contractor on board, then there will be a design team that will involve the design build contractor or consultant, us, and probably some, folks maybe at the hotel when we kind of get involved with the parking situation. There's going to be a lot of players in this whole design team, so it'll be very fluid and very inclusive of everybody that has a stake in this. So all of those issues can come up in that design process.
Okay. Commissioner Unger?
While I was not a city commissioner when the city basically became responsible for the transit center and applying for the grant and that sort of thing. I do appreciate all of staff's work on this. I know it's been a long time. And I appreciate, Mr. Knowles, your work on getting a little bit more funding coming this way, because we all know that costs have gone up, and the second we build this thing, it could just start to deteriorate, and we're going to have to take care of it and maintain it for years to come. So while it may not have been a decision I would have wanted to make if I was a city commissioner years ago, we're here now, and I appreciate everyone's work on it.
2 points on it. One is we're requiring a cast-in-place parking structure, which they require less long-term maintenance than a precast project where you put together like Legos. The pieces would come in and precast. So I think the cast-in-place was a good direction to go in, and also it's just I think going to be dependent upon what we get as the bid for this project. I've given the Transportation Cabinet an estimate on what I think it's going to cost, and I had a lot of input from different consulting firms what it might cost. So I got a lot of feedback from folks who gave me ideas on what I wanted to estimate this at. So as I said earlier in a previous meeting, we're going to have to wait to see the bids, but I'm a little nervous about that because the construction industry is in such flux right now with cost, labor issues. So hopefully we'll get near what I estimated for this project.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you. He's going from one project to another.
Don't go too far.
Any other questions? Discussion? If not,
Did you second?
Did I say
Or Kelly did, didn't
I've got a first.
yeah, first and second,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yep.
Commissioner Rosen?
Yes, I just had one other question. Is if our interest in using the roof or in renewable energy on the roof, if that isn't in the RFP, how will we be able to bring it up later in the design process?
Once the bid is awarded, they'll have a design team, they'll work with our staff. We have members of the community who are involved in the selection. So there'll be many discussions. That's where you start looking at really at the design. And that's the opportunity to bring up other ideas for what would happen up on the roof.
Okay, thank you.
Just one more comment. This design build invitation for bid that we've pretty much finalized, and the cabinet's going to give us the green light, I hope, this week to do this. It was based on what we thought was some of the basic services and equipment we wanted in this garage. So there's an opportunity again to add on to the design as we go into this process. So y'all are welcome to suggest things and make comments on whatever we come up with.
Thank you.
All right. City Clerk, call for a vote.
Okay. Commissioner Rosen?
Yes.
Commissioner Unger?
Yes.
Commissioner May?
Yes.
Commissioner Waldridge?
Yes.
Mayor Wilkerson?
Yes, and that motion carries. And before you go too far, Chuck, we have action item number 11, the Tiger Grant Project Update.
Well, thanks for the opportunity to share a little information with you about this project. Back earlier this month, our prime contractor, Pace Contracting, requested a time extension on the original substantial completion, open to traffic date, which is August 1st. Let me kind of go through the review and the justification for this. They requested a 6-week to mid-September time extension for substantial completion. I worked with Strand Associates, our engineering consultant, and we thought the best approach was to use the standard specifications the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet applies to construction projects. These standard specs address methods, materials, procedures as to how projects are to be built, both road and bridge projects. And so part of that standard specifications also addresses contracts. And PACE's original contract was a specified completion date, August 1st, 2022. So the project was awarded in December of 2020. So that gives them 587 days to do the project. During this project, we've executed 4 change orders, which added additional work to this contract. And so in accordance with the transportation specifications, anytime you have a specified completion date, which we have, August 1st, what you can do is increase the time for the contractor to work based on the same percentage of amount of money that you've added to the contract. And so we've added about 4.8% of the original contract amount to the contract. And so Strand and I, we've looked at this and we recommend a 4-week, not a 6-week extension to this to August 29th. And we have, I think, good grounds for that. If anybody wants to talk to us about that, we're using something Transportation Cabinet uses in extending their projects. I think the cost of those of the change orders are, I think, things that we've approved are the irrigation system for all the landscaping, the wayfinding signs, the 11 wayfinding signs we're going to put on the project. Also the ADA improvements out front, $157,000 of that is going to go for that. So we felt like we had, with the increase in cost of the contract, that we had a justification to increase their time 4 weeks and not 6. So we're going to hold in August 29th of this year to finish substantial completion. And what substantial completion is it's all the sidewalks, the granite inserts on the sidewalks, curb and gutter, all the storm drainage, pavements, brick pavers, street lights, all of those things are going to be done by August 29th. So we'll maybe have some landscaping and we'll follow up on that. Of course, the wayfinding signs will get put in there. That's not part of the substantial completion. So there are a few things that we'll continue to work on past August 29th. The final completion date established in the grant agreement was December 1st. So we don't expect to have any problem getting everything done by December 1st. So just wanted to let you all know about a 4-week extension on substantial completion. I plan to put that out through one of my email notes just to let people know what's going on. So hopefully you all got some of the early information on that. So when people call you, you say, I knew all about that. Any questions on that?
It's still the same month.
It is.
Still the
It
same
is.
month.
Well, it is a
By a
little,
day.
yeah, it is a little disappointing because the contractor, in changing, in signing all 4 of those change orders, they agreed to do all that added work within the original contract time. But they just saw they weren't going to meet August 1st because of other issues, and they had a right to request a time extension, and KYT specifications allow for that. So that's what we used.
Thank you for all your work on this. And keeping
We're
the
getting
community
there.
informed
Yeah,
consistently,
yeah.
that helps.
Yeah, we're getting there. By Labor Day, hopefully we'll be well along.
All right.
So.
And then
Anything
we can
else?
plan our street party.
That's not my ballpark.
Like you said, I will have my feet up, relaxing for a
Press
moment.
conferences and street celebrations are not my ballpark.
We won't have you plan that. How about
Oh, yeah, please don't. Please don't. No, we're gonna be working on this parking garage over here.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you.
It's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And now we'll move to new business. Commissioner Rosen, you want to start this off?
Yes, the first topic I'd like to discuss is requesting that we write a letter to the Frankfort Plant Board to ask them to not demolish the retired reservoir. And that the purpose for this would be to have NREL, which of course is for our listening audience, National Renewable Energy Laboratory, to follow a little bit further on the initial report that was done that said we could use the reservoir as part of our renewable energy program. And by this, what I'm talking about here is, I'll use the example of Tennessee Valley Authority, that they have Raccoon Mountain Pump Storage Facility. So when they have excess energy, they pump water up into a reservoir and let that come down when they have a greater requirement for energy. And this is something that we could do on a small scale to help us with our renewable energy resolution. And so NREL, I'd like to see that we ask them to look at this study and see if it is feasible, work out the costs so that we could realize an advantage there. But in order to be able to do that, we need to ask the Frankfort Plant Board to not demolish the reservoir for the next 3 months.
Okay, so is that something we want to bring up at the July work session?
Well, this is something that's very time sensitive because I think the plant board is ready to demolish the reservoir somewhere in the next 7 to 10 days. So things moved along, and I wasn't aware of this study that had been done. And if we need to request something from the plant board, it has to be very soon, as in perhaps today. And all we're asking them to do is to delay the demolition so that we can study it. We're not committing to actually using it or doing it. It's just a request to delay the demolition of what is there if we could use it.
Does anybody want to take this up as an action item? I'll leave it to the board. If anybody want to make a motion on this? Commissioner May?
I think it's an important discussion opportunity, with our goals on our energy resolution, that just the idea that, once it's gone, it's gone. So I think, I would be in favor of seeing a request to have the conversation about why it may or may not be of interest, and if there's anything else we can do to get the conversation formalized, the response from FPB, get them at the table in the conversation. I would be in support of that.
Will you direct staff to initiate a meeting or so, or conversation, so that we get a couple of representatives from the city, just to reach out to them on that? Would that be acceptable?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be a representative.
Yes, I think that if the plant board realized that we were serious about this and had a sincere interest in making something possibly work, that we'd have to do that as officially the city saying this could be a component of our renewable energy resolution, and that we'd like you to delay the demolition so that we could explore it.
And how long do we explore it?
No, see, I think 3 months is what. Okay, why don't we, without objection, we can direct the city manager to reach out just to see if we can
Have a meeting this week.
Have a meeting this week. And if we need something formal, like a letter, we can, I'm sure that's something that we can quickly arrange and have a quick meeting if we had to.
So to get clarification, one, this meeting is to request that they pause the demolition of the reservoir. And two, to have a discussion on the feasibility of this being included, or we would have to hire NREL to do an in-depth feasibility.
I think this meeting is to see if it's a possibility,
Okay.
seeing if they're open to that.
Okay.
I mean, even if NREL were to say that this is something that we should do, we can't compel them to do that. Unless we can.
So I should add, a different department of NREL did the actual feasibility study, or not feasibility study, but potential study, or that it has potential. And this would be to ask NREL to include this in the work they're already doing for us. It might not be an additional cost. It might fit in very well with what they're already doing, but to ask them to look at it. As well as asking the plant board to slow down on demolition.
I
Who would like to be a part of that meeting?
Not
Or you
me.
can
I'll be a
email
part
me
of it.
separately.
Okay,
Okay.
no more than 2. Okay, we'll take it up with the plant board, we'll ask them this week.
Thank you.
Any other new business?
Does she have something?
Yes, I also want to follow up on the discussion about the road for the Humane Society.
Any,
Yeah.
we put it on the July work session?
Okay, that sounds good.
Is everyone?
Is
we
there a
can-
clear will?
What are we needed on the work session for?
Well, that's what we're gonna, that's why we bring it up here, and we can, is this something we
If we,
wanna?
yeah, if we want to show support, then we should.
I think this is something you wanna, this is where we email the city manager, let her know if this is. So here to this
But
point, we
I
haven't
understand
had
what I'm
that,
doing it for.
we haven't had that will,
Is it because he wants more money for the road?
To discuss
yeah,
it.
no one's even wanted to put it on a work session, so.
Well, perhaps we should touch into it now and then people could think about it for the work session.
Okay, that's what we're doing, this is the new business part. This is something, if you want it on the work session, July,
Email.
we'll communicate it to the city manager. And if enough people communicate support, it'll be on the work session. If there's no support,
And it will not be on the.
any other new business?
I have
We have a couple.
multiple
Commissioner Abbott?
things. Whoever. Would you want to go first?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
You go for it.
I do have like 5 or 6 things.
Oh, good. No, I'm just kidding.
Sorry, I've been saving it all just for this one meeting.
I know a couple I think I agree with. So.
I wanted to touch on something that Commissioner Rosen brought up. Maybe it was 2 meetings ago, last month, the need for updates on the parcels B and C. I talked to city manager about this earlier. We touched on it a little bit earlier as well. And I'd really like to see, once we get going, to invite the developer in and really, be able to communicate what they need. We need to see a timeline. If they need anything from us or the plant board, we need to know what their plan is so we can help move that project forward once we're at that spot. I know we're not quite there. And then I saw Eric Cockley walk in. I wanted to also touch on the fact that Commissioner Rosen mentioned, getting those comprehensive plan updates, from you, and everyone involved, and sort of knowing what that timeline is. So, whenever that is, the next
That
work
is scheduled
session.
for the July work session.
Okay, great. Because I think a lot of people just they don't know what the whole process involves. So if we can bring that up again or regularly, would be really good. Number 2, I was listening to the KCDC meeting that was actually really hard to hear, and I think they need to work on probably getting new microphones, because it's really hard when some people are virtual and some people are in person. But Mr. Rosen brought up the idea of the mayor, city manager, judge, and maybe the planning staff getting together and just discussing, possible properties to discuss for Buffalo Trace potential expansion. I know that's the hot topic, and I don't know where that conversation ended just because I couldn't hear the meeting. So I just wanted to bring that up again and maybe get an update from the mayor because you were there. Let's see. Number 3, I want to bring up paid parental leave again. I've been sending a couple emails, and I don't know if the support's there from the board, the BOC yet, but I would like to see that on July or August work session so I can bring that up again.
Yes, I haven't heard from all the commissioners when we
Okay.
sent that notice out.
Okay.
But we did send it out for yesterday, so if
Great.
you have not responded to me, please do so.
Yeah, please do that. I went to a KLC training, and that was one of the good topics on benefits for employees that they brought up. So it'd be great to discuss again. I also want to touch on, I'll cut off a couple things. I'll end with, I had a really eye-opening meeting with the Homelessness and Housing Coalition of Kentucky a couple weeks ago. They wanted to reach out because there are many residents in the city limits that their apartments and the buildings are being purchased and leases are not being honored in all cases. So people are being kicked out, and they are then going to the Homelessness and Housing Coalition for services. So after some discussion, you know, I want to make sure I'm representing the people in the community that truly need me. So I started looking up TOPA ordinances, which basically could help. You know, it's a policy that we could look at for, it's called tenant opportunity to purchase. There's other big cities that have done it. I don't know if it's something that could fit with Frankfort, but I know we're going to be discussing abandoned properties, but there's also properties that people live in that are not being held to a certain standard and that are being purchased, and then tenants are being kicked out. So I just wanted to bring that up and mention that's something I'm doing a little bit of research on.
So if I can ask for clarification, would you like me to send an email out after this meeting to see if the board is interested in bringing this up for a future discussion at a work session?
Yeah, or I can send an email. I'd be happy to do that too. I think that's it.
Commissioner Rogers?
I just saw pins continuing to go, so I was being mindful. I saw pins going over there. So yes, I have not sent an email, so I apologize. I don't think I responded back to Commissioner Unger's parental leave. I know I responded back to her, but I don't know if I responded back to you. But I'm very supportive of that. As I also gave her another idea to add as part of hers was to add the leave for a stillborn or things of that nature, for that also to be in her writing. So I gave her a suggestion that I had for families that are grieving to still have time as well. And she said that was a great idea, so I support that. And then I guess my couple of things is I've had several people in the community contact me in regarding election signs that are already up way ahead of time. I know that our ordinance is way different than the county's ordinance, as it states that by all means, I think it's that you have to have them up 7 days after the election, but it doesn't say anything about when they can be put back out. But I'm now on my 5th resident that has called me, emailed me, or texted me, or pulled me aside and was wondering why signs are up. And so I would like to suggest us looking into mimicking that of the county, which is, I believe, 60 days before the general election or something, or 90. I can't remember, but I know that they have a timeline that you can put them back out. And I think our community just wants a break from the election, from the signs, and they like that time, that break in there. But just some people have called me, and I think we could look at what the county does and implement that. So like the mayor said, you know, we're one county, we're one community, you know, in our city. And so maybe if we all follow that, then everyone knows what those guidelines are, because we don't really have a clean cut as the county. So I'd really like to look at that and bring that up to move forward. Another one is that I had
Just actually quick clarification, so we can do some research. I don't know what the county requirements are, and then we can get that information to you all, and then we can follow up individually to see if you want to bring forth
just send the
discussion
ordinance.
or
I didn't get it. I was waiting on that, but I did not get it from the person I requested it from, so I apologize, which was in the county, to bring that, but I did not. But yeah, we can get a copy and email that out, but I just think using theirs and everybody being on one accord, that way there's only one rule for that. My next is East Campbell and Logan. They're having a lot of speeding issues, I guess, still to, you know, Capitol being working on, Capitol Avenue being worked on, 2nd Street and all of that. But there's been some issues with speeding on that street, so I'd like to see if Chief Bowman could look into getting a speed trap at East Campbell and Logan in there somewhere to get that sped down, because some of the people that have called it have said they wanted to purchase their own speed bumps and put out there because they're afraid their kids are going to be hit. So I think we need to take that serious and see if we can get a speed trap there to slow some vehicles down in that area. I'd also like for our whoever's over our Facebook page to go ahead and put out the firework ordinance. We're getting close. 4th of July is coming up, and just to know that fireworks are illegal in the city. And that when fireworks can and cannot be let off. I've already had some calls on that because I've heard them from my house. So if you could post that on Facebook so people can see that, those of us that share and have a big following, to get that out so people can understand that. My last and final is I spoke with Capitol Plaza owner and manager and things, and they're just having a really bad problem with their parking issue.
I know this falls underneath the parcel B. I've already met with city manager on this and voiced that. I'm hoping we've moved forward since my meeting with you in some kind of direction. But I think when we're moving forward and getting this parking garage started and things, I think that it is on the developer to either knock down the old parking garage that they're in, since there has been cars stolen, there has been attacks over there, there's been trash over there, there's been loitering over there. The safety for them and the KSU students who stay in that hotel, I think we either need to tell them to go ahead and demolish that and make a parking space for them as soon as possible. I don't think that needs to wait longer before someone really gets hurt, and it's not great for our city for people to come in and have events at the hotel and they come back out to find their car has been vandalized or something of that nature, and we need that developer to step up to make that either safe with cameras or security going back and forth, because that is not our officers' responsibility. But I do think something needs to happen very quickly for the safety of our community there. So that's my items, Mayor.
Thank you. Commissioner Waldridge. Any other? No other new business.
Kelly's hand.
All right, Commissioner May.
Thank you. I'm not exactly sure if it will be necessary for a meeting or not, but Ms. Penny Peebler sent us all an email today that I think is a great program to help with the food desert problem that we discussed in Frankfort, downtown Frankfort specifically, about the delivery of groceries now from the Kroger businesses here, and maybe an opportunity to provide assistance for those that need delivery. They would need to have a device themselves and, of course, access to the internet. But for $59 a year, they are starting to offer a grocery delivery service. And so part of the conversation for me would be, is that something that the CARES Coalition can incorporate into their discussions, and maybe finding some financial assistance for those that would need that service. And then the next piece would be an unfinished business piece. So I'll wait.
Okay. We'll move on to unfinished business now then. Any unfinished business, Commissioner May?
Thank you. We had started conversations about gaining access to the river for the community and public recreational uses. And we all know that that's important. It's part of our master plans. It's part of what we've identified as a very unique piece of existing infrastructure for us here in the community. Had a follow-up conversation with Mr. Tommy Russell about kind of starting to look systematically at what spots work for us for those projects, and coming together with staff and with former or rest of the BOC to kind of put all these wishes in plan so that we can maybe ask the entities that will need to play here, Kentucky River Authority, maybe Corps Engineers, anybody else, adjacent property owners, get those asks in front of us and all together. And he made the suggestion of actually taking us out on the boat and get an opportunity to see some of these spots. So I would certainly encourage us to continue that conversation, and then reach out to Mr. Russell and maybe schedule time to get out so we can look at these places. But we know it's important. We have to have a thought out plan as we move forward to hopefully help get the projects off the road there.
Great. I will follow up with Tommy Russell, and if those who are interested who want to take a tour to see available properties, I don't think that's a problem to make it happen.
Okay.
My unfinished business sort of falls underneath of that, and that would be the Blanton's Landing area. I think that's something that we need to continue moving forward. We need to put at the sky. I know it's going to cost money, but I think it's something that's pertinent to our community. And I think that that's something also that we could start trying to push to get money from the state, as they've been pushing money to the Louisville area for their waterfront, as well as other properties in Lexington for parks. So I think it's something that we need to look at and see if that's something we still want as Frankfort, which I would. I know I've seen some plans in that, and some of the proposals that people had sent in underneath of our last commission. And I think it's a great idea and a huge plus for our community. And I think it's gaining a little bit more attention, but I think that's something we need to start looking that our community can enjoy, and to be able to put money in that our community is going to be able to enjoy that and put us, as Commissioner May said, on the river.
So actually, we did put in, just at the tail end into the budget for fiscal year '23, a geotech analysis because of the falling of the parking lot. So Eric Cockley is here. We know that we can get that executed with the company, and we will feel more confident getting that done, to do the analysis about the Riverwalk, if that's possible, and then to be able to hopefully move forward, get the recommendations if this is possible, and then if it is or isn't, adjusting the plans to that.
Well, I think that's great. I know I spoke with Crumbo when that happened and the vehicle almost fell in the river, and let him know that I think the city needs to work with him as he's getting his looked at, and that we needed to work with him as well, because if something's deteriorating to that magnitude, we don't want that deterioration to continue down our riverbank, because that would then put Bourbon on Main, Goodwood, and people like that also in jeopardy if we continue to erosion. So I'm glad that we are working with them definitely on making that a strong riverbank so we could use it. So thank you.
Okay. Any other unfinished business? What's next?
Motion to approve.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Yes. We have a motion, we have a second?
Yes.
Second, Commissioner Aldridge. All those in favor to adjourn, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Right, no
Has a
opposed.
motion
See you
to
next
approve?
time. Thank you.
Just kidding. I'm so sorry. That's all. I just wanted to motion to approve.
I did.